I'll call this meeting to order. It's 4:31. Consideration of any changes. We're not going to remove anything from the agenda. I thought I heard.
Yep.
Nothing else that you wanted to add or anything?
No.
Good, so on to public comments.
I think we have one. Hi.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi. Oh, great. Oh, I think you put me on screen, so I can't see you, but you can see me.
Can you hear
That's
us?
okay.
Can you hear us though?
Yeah, I can hear. There's no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to put it on screen, that's fine, because I was going to share my screen if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, super. Well, nice to meet you all. My name is Jonathan Liu. I'm a resident up on East Lake Road on the newly coined 68 Sunset View Lane. And it's a second home for us. We spend about, a little over 40% of our time in the year there, so there are good bits. It's my wife, Vivian, myself, Jonathan, and it's our three kids. So appreciate the time today. Want to just maybe share, some of my perspective just with respect to the demand rates. I think you might have heard some public comments on some of the notes from last month about that, but I just wanted to share a little bit more, share some of our story, and then, hopefully can be in consideration for some of the future rate changes.
Absolutely. Yeah, we welcome your feedback.
All right, super. I don't think I have the option to share.
I think we can give
No, I did. No,
All right.
sorry. I found it.
I think we're good.
All right, let's see. Is that up on screen?
Yep.
Yeah, we can
Yep.
see you.
It is, John.
Okay. All right, super. So yeah, I mean, maybe just to kick off, we built a new house up there on the ridge over the lake, and we tried to sort of do it, on all the ways that are, coming forward, in line with all the state and local green initiatives, et cetera. That's, it's quite passive, very efficient insulated house. Heat pumps for all the heating and cooling, heat pumps for the water heater, a lot of insulation to kind of keep it warm in winter without too much heating, et cetera. Triple glazed windows. It's all electric. We're trying to focus on air quality, so no fossil fuels. Again, trying to be very, forward with our environmental posture, et cetera. We have an electric vehicle, so we put a level 2 charger in. We've got battery backup, and we did put a solar array on the roof. So we've got about a 24 kilowatt array, with 57 panels. So just a little bit about our house, just to give some context to the situation. And so I think what happened was that the team over the management team at Ludlow Electric's been very accommodating to give us sort of information and insight, but I don't think I really understood, and maybe the tariffs are a little convoluted to understand, the tariff and the rate sheets, for some months. And so while it started out as, we're on the regular tariff 1, eventually we ended up moving over to the demand rates. And I think even when we did, I didn't really understand it, but I've gotten a whole education, I guess, on what the tariff rate sheets are and why they are. So, I think maybe just to share a little bit of my perspectives, right? It seems like the tariffs are designed in a way to, sort of penalize good home choices in this day and age, 2025. And my understanding from talking to Michael and some others, right, is that, fundamentally, like, these were designed a long time ago, and, are somewhat based off of, I think, how Ludlow Electric is ultimately charged for the usage that, the town and village, consumes. But for the demand rate, and obviously what we found, and I'll share some data on the next slide, for an electric house in Vermont, even without an EV, put that aside for a minute, 2,000 kilowatt hours, over 2 months, or 9 kilowatt, limit, it's pretty much impossible to stay under, because in the, heart of winter in January, February, March, often the house is, trying to heat itself and, using 2,000 kilowatt hours. And then the 9 kilowatt limit, again, because it triggers that if it's a 15-minute, as I understand it from talking to the team, if it hits for 15 minutes in a given month, it essentially triggers, and, with just even a short spike, from we're using a dryer, the dishwasher, the heat's on in the winter, right? It'll pop over that pretty easily, even if it's just for 20 or 30 minutes at a time. So, on top of that, we do have an electric vehicle, and I know that there's a pilot going on, but again, not me, and this is my own fault, but like not understanding the demand rate tariff at home. We continue to charge our EV at home for a while, and because it runs at 11 kilowatts, essentially once you plug it in, this is an estimation, but essentially it's like $130 per month, immediate kind of tax, so to speak, because the 9 kilowatt or like the 11 kilowatts or whatnot, times $14, on the demand rate, right when you plug it in. If you're running for more than 15 minutes, that's an additional charge on the bill. So most of our demand spikes, I'll show you some data in a minute, were I think made worse by our EV charging, but effectively what that results in is that we can't even charge our vehicle at home anymore, unless we just want to pay like $130 extra every month. So just to share a little bit of information, hopefully it's not too small, but I shared this with Chris in soft copy, so feel free to look at it afterwards.
I can get you.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, John, I didn't get a chance to print that out for these guys,
Yeah.
but we can get it to them. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I said it just a minute ago because I just got back from picking up the kids.
Understood.
Yeah, but I think what shocked us, I guess, was that considering our usage, our net usage, our bills have been seemingly quite high, considering the usage overall, on a net basis, and then ultimately the duration of the peak demands. We do have the Tesla Powerwall, so I know I've got some ability to look at data that is, a bit more detailed than what the current meters are. And I know there's a program to update the meters as well. This is some information from the bill, plus paired with some of the Tesla Powerwall app information. But for example, and probably the most stark contrast is, the last 6 months, we've returned, about 4,600 kilowatt hours to the grid, and in that same period paid, $1,440 for electricity. And I know there's a base, fees, for the EEC, customer charges, et cetera, but, all told that, it was pretty surprising to us that that's, how it would turn out. And recognize that, that's mostly in the spring and summer and fall. I know in the winter time, our usage last winter, for example, was, we were charging our vehicle, and so, the usage was, much higher, 3,000, 4,000, 2,000, 4,000, 3,000 in December, January, March, in terms of kilowatt hours. But again, a few hundred of those were probably from the vehicle. I can't tell exactly. But really, I guess what it comes down to is that, I've almost developed a small fear of the kilowatt demand spikes, because I know that every time it spikes, if two things are going at once, and I happen to plug in my car or something like that, then all of a sudden we end up with a 15-minute spike that's results in a big demand charge for the month. So anyway, I just share some of this to, I guess, provide some storytelling, some data, around sort of our story. And basically over the last 12 or 13 months, the net is something like, I guess it's there, like 3,000-4,000 kilowatt hours of usage. Total bills of like 2,700. So maybe the last bit, then I'll stop for any questions, and and again, thanks for the time. But I guess one is, recognizing, I think the commission's, the task is just sort of make sure that the rates are fair and reasonable for customers. I don't know if it's even possible, but would the board consider an exemption for our household to return to tariff 1, permanently? 2, consideration for inclusion in the EV charging pilot. That might be more management than the commission, but. And then 3, certainly when the tariffs are reevaluated, I would ask that you consider sort of, my story and some of this data, and others who have tried to make the right environmental choices so that, we can get sort of a set of tariffs and adjustments, et cetera, and building, mechanisms that, feel a bit more aligned to I guess, the modern age of, more electric, efficient homes as opposed to, oil and gas based homes. So I'll just pause there. Again, thanks for the time, and welcome any questions or thoughts.
Thank you for your time. Yeah, I mean, we unfortunately don't get a lot of public feedback here, so it's always nice to have people come and talk to us about what's going on. And this, I think you alluded to following the minutes from last meeting, or the meeting from the recording, but we have talked about this quite a bit, and we all recognize that there's a problem, and we really want to address it. Thanks for putting some more numbers and data behind it. I think that really helps. It does seem, on its face, it's a little crazy to me that you paid so much for electricity and gave us so much electricity for our system. And so, it's definitely something that I want to correct and make sure that, I would like to see better incentives for people that are feeding back into the grid in that way. Yeah.
May I talk about the process, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair?
of course.
So, John, I know you can't see us, but I'm looking at you, so
I can see now.
Oh, you can? Okay, that's good. Very much appreciate the data and the info, and you are not alone. What I can say is, of the 3 bullets that you have, we can't do anything about number 1 at the moment. This is a tariff. I've been admonished by the PUC for not following them perfectly, so I can't do anything about that right now. But we are definitely, and the board, as you heard, the board recognizes that this is an issue. And the only 2 times we've heard public comment have been about demand rates. But I gotta tell you, I've gotten a ton of calls on them, and it's all the same. And I just got an electric vehicle, and I have plugged it in at my house, so I'm gonna be in the same boat as you are, by my next bill. And the other thing was the tariffs. So right now, we're in a rate case with the Public Utility Commission. And normally what happens is they decide what the rates are, and then we can redo all the rate design. But and you're actually, and what you're talking about with the demand rates and other tariffs and things are a rate design issue. And you are correct that, the tariff, the rate design that had been in place were, I know they're not from the 70s, but they feel like they're from the 70s when, you were trying to discourage electric use in winter and other stuff, right? So this all needs to be revisited, and I think, for me, I really appreciate the data, and I would love to keep in contact with you, so as we go through that, any thoughts you have, would be absolutely welcome, so.
Yeah, super. Yeah, I appreciate those comments, and I'm around. I shared some of my contact information. I shared the presentation.
Yeah.
As well, yeah.
Let me ask just one other technical question, which it may be too late to ask anyway, which is, this is all recorded by Okemo TV and put up for public viewing. Are you okay with the data and the slides being put up there as well, or do you want those not included?
No, I think there's nothing really in there that's, totally okay with that, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to check on that, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. Yeah. I guess, just reiterate, I really appreciate the feedback, really appreciate the comments, and as soon as we can address it, like Chris said, we undertook that rate case because we were, the department was operating at a loss, and we needed to raise rates overall. And so we undertook that process first, but knowing that starting that process meant that we couldn't redesign rates and get rid of that demand rate. And until the rate case is concluded, we can't do that redesign. And so really hoping to get to that rate redesign as soon as we can, but right now we're sort of stuck.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Yes, and we will add you to the EV charger pilot project list. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thanks for clarifying.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay, super. Well, thanks. I will let you all do your business. Appreciate it.
You're welcome to stay.
Yeah, yes, you are also welcome to stay.
Yeah. Let up
I
more
gotta go
seats on
cook
this
dinner. I
board.
gotta eat dinner with the family, but I do appreciate it. Thanks again for the time.
All right, see you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah, likewise.
All right, on to, no more public here, so no more public comments. On to minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for September 25th.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. It's there.
Motion carries. On to the department manager's report.
Sure. So, a lot going on, and this is, my first full week of working full-time, and yes, I have remembered how to work an 8 to 5 or after schedule. The employee handbook is probably the big thing. I was extremely disappointed in the version we got. I'll talk more about that when we get to number 7, but I thought I would have the ability to get you at least the decision points for, the policy changes or things that you need to describe, and it's just not in a form that enables us to do that right now. So we'll get to that when we get to item 7. I'll just skip over that. We have started discussion with IBEW. They presented us with their negotiating items for a 2-year term. During executive session under the contract stuff, I'll talk to you about that. And we've got some things we can talk about with that. We are indeed done with sorting through all our records. Based on the document retention policy that you all approved a few months ago, we have gone through, sorted through all the boxes. We'll be renting a box truck, like a U-Haul or something, and driving these up to St. Albans next Friday. They are, that's the best deal we could get. And Secure Shred, I have trouble saying that, but anyway, they were working in the town, but they were not available, and they also require that we remove all the staples and paper clips and all that stuff, and they charge $12 a box. These guys in St. Albans will take all unprepared. They don't care if there are paper clips and things like that, and it's $8 a box. So even though the rental is somewhat, the time, the rental stuff, it still makes more sense to bring it to them. And I'll just say that they will process the most sensitive stuff that we have being delivered while we were there, and then the rest they'll unload and do. It's, I won't say 125 years worth of files, but it's a lot. So it's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. And most of it is old financial records and things like that that need to be shredded because of personal information that's included on them.
Yep.
So that's happening. Construction at the office is done. So you're welcome to come
Nice.
come
You're
look.
welcome by,
Yeah,
yeah.
come look. Yeah, come see.
Yeah.
And let's see. I'm going to go through.
Does this include, just on the document point, does
Yep.
this includes anything that was also in the basement here?
Yes.
Yeah,
We
everything's
collect-
at these.
Is this
Yeah,
anything
I
that
collected
is
that. We collected that this
Ludlow
week.
Electric?
Yeah, we collected that
Everything's at
this
the
week,
office.
and we brought it to the office, and we sorted it, and it's ready to go as well. So there's no more Ludlow Electric files in Town Hall,
Anywhere else?
anywhere else, and these will be all taken care of by next Friday. Chapter, hopefully,
Yeah.
closed. Everything else is pretty straightforward. We continue to work with Stonehouse Solar and Akimo. There's a new request possibly from Magris to do a battery project at the Stonehouse Solar site. I'll
Oh.
talk with Brett about that, and work on that, but I guess the best news from this past month is Magris and Okemo and we are now establishing I think, regular meetings to actually talk about how to help them manage their electricity load, our electricity load. Of course, the assumption is, we're the electric department, we want to make more money. That is not true. That's not fundamentally not true. We want people to be efficient and use electricity that they need, and we want to be able to provide the electricity that they need when they need it. But so I think we got that point across, particularly to Magris. I think Okemo knew. We haven't worked that much or I haven't with Magris before, so it was a good way to establish kind of a three-way thing. These are our two biggest customers and the biggest load, requirements. So it was really nice to be able to do that and start looking for ways to make everybody's life easier in terms of both pricing and load management. I was hoping to have a report today about the Department of Public Services recommendations regarding our rate case. They seem to always wait to the end of the day, which probably happened about 2 minutes after we started the meeting, and I have no way of accessing that. If I learn something from that, I will certainly send that to you right away, right? And I'll check when I get home. And hey, home is only 5 minutes away. I don't have to drive an hour and a half anymore to do this.
Yeah, welcome to Ludlow.
Yeah, thank you. It's appreciated. So I do expect that we'll get some feedback today, which will inform some other things about how the department's viewing us. I expect it to be positive, but I hope, we'll find out. Once we're secure in that, I don't want to do it prematurely, but once we're secure in that, we're going to ask another 1.2 megawatt increase in our utility load to prepare to accommodate for Okemo's compressor changes, right? And I think everything else is pretty clear. Oh, the audit, the systems audit for our financial thing has been done in terms of having them come to on-site and go through all our stuff. We got a couple of follow-up things to do to make sure that everything is as best as it can be. But I would expect by next month, and before next month, we'll have a report from them with any recommendations they have about the management of funds internal to the organization. And that's basically it. We didn't get the September financials quite done because we were waiting for another bill, but I just want to make clear you're going to see a huge increase in revenue under miscellaneous income, which is really an accounting management thing based on the MII, the advanced meters grant that we're getting and financing through VEPSA. So it's going to look like we earned $500,000 this month. That is not true, but it is the accounting structure to get the grant management and the books straight. We can explain that more when you do see it, but that's it, I think, for me.
I just got a couple of questions.
Sure thing.
When in the paragraph about Stonehouse Solar and Okemo, down toward the end, it said, we've also heard from another company.
Yes.
Who is that?
I don't remember the name of it, but we are setting up, Brett and him are trying to set up a conversation in the next week or so. I'm afraid I don't remember the name of the company.
Okay.
I can get that to you.
Yeah, I'm curious who
Okay.
it is.
Yes, I'm
This is
sorry.
adjacent to the substation? Which substation? would that-
It's really an offer to think about the concept of the project, so I don't think they care which substation.
Oh, all right.
And I don't think we know enough about it yet to even say it's a good idea or a bad idea. All I know is that for battery projects, to be adjacent to a substation or to a connection is better,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, of course.
But,
We only have one that we
I-
can really do.
yeah, and I don't know I'll just say, I don't know anything about these people. We haven't done any, it was literally a call in to say, would you be interested in having a conversation? And I said, yeah, I'm always interested in having a conversation.
Yeah.
But I
that's it.
apologize for not remembering the company's name. I will get that to you, G. Okay?
Oh, I'm just curious because it, like, wow. And then second paragraph on the second page says, we attended the Public Utility Committee. Just who's we?
So me and Michael, because it was about the tariffs, it was about the thing that you just heard from Jonathan is not unique. So
Right.
the Public
Right.
Utility Commission established a meeting, not a formal docket, no order, nothing like that, but they invited all the utilities to come talk about rate design, the same thing that we were just talking about. So that was the first of those meetings. Because it's financial, they did bring Michael with me, and it looks like, that conversation's gonna continue. They've asked for comments and ideas by November 7th. We're in the middle of a bunch of other stuff, and we're small compared to, obviously, GMP, VAC, and all the other utilities that were there, so we think that we'll let them take the lead on the first set of comments and see what they say. But everybody's in the same boat, is basically what I would offer to you.
Thanks, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we have the ability to change our tariffs,
We do.
and so I imagine that other people have changed their tariffs.
They have. And,
Somebody must have, has
Right.
anybody figured it out? Or is it?
well, and that was the nature of the thing. There was a lot of discussion about, like, well, everybody can't have the same dollar amount for the tariff, but can't we learn from each other about the design
Yeah,
and the features of those? And so that's my hope, that we'll be able to do that, and that was a good bulk of the discussion on October 8th when we went. What I will say is, there's not a lot of disagreement that they need to be modernized across the board. Some may have already started that. And, we kind of tried briefly for the demand rate to ask for an exception and to ask to not have to implement it. And it just became too complicated to try and do before the rate case is resolved.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do think that, early next year, so the big thing's coming up. We got this rate case. We got our budgets to work on, right? We're now in budget season.
Yeah.
We may be able to do something with the rate design sooner, but my thought is that certainly at least through the first quarter of next year, the fun part of your job will be to really consider and evaluate what's fair and advancing the policies of the utility that you want to advance.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that'll be, sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And when we do a rate redesign, I guess don't really need to talk about this too much, but, am I correct that typically a rate redesign is supposed to be revenue neutral?
Yes, but we need to know what the revenue target, the reason we do it after the rate cases, we need to know what the revenue that we're gonna get is
Yeah.
before you can do that. But you're right. It's gotta be revenue neutral within the new rate rate
Rate structure.
structure, correct?
And so all the other, and getting rid of the demand rate necessitates also further increasing other rates.
Probably,
To balance.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
another thing that's gonna happen, once we put these AMI meters in, everybody's demand, right now you have to hit, really, even anybody to trigger it, and most of the meters we have in, they have to hit the 2,000 kilowatt hours per
Yeah,
month
that's what I was.
in order to trigger it, because
Yeah.
we can't tell on the max
your
max
hourly
KW, because most of the meters don't record that.
Yeah,
With the new AMI meters, everybody's gonna be recorded on the max KW. So we're gonna know, you might have customers that only using 12 or 1,500, but they're over that 9 KW. So it's gonna throw a lot more people in the demand that,
So it's something to be fixed, but it gives, the AMI gives a bunch of opportunity as well, right? Because we can start thinking about, oh, well, if somebody's willing to charge their car not in peak hours and charge it overnight or something, then maybe the rate stays the
Maybe we
same
can do
even if they
more.
trigger. So
Yeah, we can do-
there are infinite number of opportunities for you to think about how you
Yeah,
want
hourly
to treat
fees
some of
and-
these things.
Yeah, hourly thresholds instead. Yeah, no, I was thinking about that. I mean, I had an electric car for a couple of years there, and I never triggered it, but I probably never went over that 2,000.
Yeah.
But I certainly went over the 9.
Yeah, and the initial proposal we tried to make to the Public Utility Commission a couple of months ago was change the 9 to 15, or 12 at least, and the 2,000 to 2,500. But it just got too complicated to try and do in the absence of,
Yeah.
because we couldn't make it revenue neutral. It was basically us saying the utility, we're gonna absorb that for
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna take a loss because we want to not do this anymore.
Right.
Yeah. All right, anyway,
Okay,
Thank you.
anything else on
no.
to outside operations?
so meter readings in progress, substation monthly checks done. We did meet with the engineer yesterday, and I think we're all on course on getting the 248J figured out and filed so we can get the regulators and the reclosure. But it will be next summer project because there's a fair amount of concrete and structural work that has to be done. 28 dig safes.
Sorry.
One outage, well, there actually was 2 outages since I did the report. Farmers market was for some reason it tripped, blown a fuse out here on the transformer.
The
I didn't
farmer's
notice that.
market?
What was that for that? Was it just like right here?
Yeah, I
What
mean,
did-
that's
who
all.
lasted up the hill?
Yeah, it just took the
Oh, just that one
transformer out that
transformer,
feeds
yeah.
us, so. Then we had one on Red Bridge Road in Spruce Lane the other night.
Yeah.
Line trimming, we've done all of Pleasant Street, and that's completed, Pleasant Street and Pleasant Street Extension. The dump truck, we had issue with that, and we repaired that in-house. Safety meeting was reclosures and control programming, fall cleanup, yard cleanup. The AMI meters, so we are scheduled to place a few of the AMI meters in place once this billing cycle is completed that they're reading right now. So we will monitor them for the month of November to make sure everything's working, everything's recording, and hopefully 1st of December, after we're done the November reads, we'll start installing meters.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker than we thought it was gonna be, and it's a lot of credit to Brett for like staying on it and ordering a storage thing so we could put them in there. So, and a lot of other stuff. So there's a lot of coordination going on, and it's moving faster than we thought it was, which is good.
Nice. Yeah, so I assume, I mean, the testing is gonna be we have multiple different towers, right?
Right.
That read.
Yeah, there's
so
eight
each
different
tower.
towers, and just
Yeah.
gotta make sure everything's receiving, and
Yeah.
and different types of meters are receiving the correct
Yeah.
information.
Nice.
The other thing we talked to the engineers about yesterday was the SCADA system, which I want to bring to your attention, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was on mine here.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the Century 50 system. at the
Oh, okay,
bottom.
keep going.
Oh, all right.
I'm sorry.
So we're having a lot of technical difficulties with that. And the main reason is that's all controlled off old copper phone lines.
Tell me what it is.
It records the data from all our subs, records Okemo snowmaking, it records Luzenak's load, so we can see our load and it prints out a report every day. So we can keep track of what our usage is during the day. And it also helps, Okemo's responsible for this, for a majority of it, because it actually benefits them, because they see when they hit the peak.
Yeah.
You know, when we hit that 16.2, they know they've got usually a 500 kilowatt hour warning before that. And it sets off an alarm. So they've got a panel in their place along with one in our shop.
That makes sense.
So the new technology is totally different. And what we're having a problem with is the old copper phone lines, TDS, they don't have the technicians that know the copper lines anymore. And what happens is if they get moisture in them, thunder and lightning hits them,
Yeah.
we lose the contacts and then
Kills the whole thing.
they've killed it. And what's happening is they're disconnecting this because they're tying all the fiber in. So we really need to get into either a radio system or a fiber system and update this.
This is the thing of like the most secure technology is antiquated technology. 'Cause nobody
Right.
knows how to fix it.
Well, right, also, you're not connected to anybody, so, yeah, you can't, nobody can mess with you.
Yeah.
So it stands for, not that this will help Gene at all, but it stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, SCADA.
SCADA. SCADA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this has been a curiosity of mine, knowing we had the AMI going in too, but then just, Jonathan just talking about his situation too. My understanding was the SCADA, the long-term implementation of that could allow us to almost view systems like Jonathan's as like a distributed power resource. And there's some amount of,
It is flexible, and I think it's important, we agree that it needs to be expandable from where it is, right now, we're grateful to have a good system that runs, that gets us the 3 substations and Okemo and Magris.
yeah.
That would be like the first thing, and then.
Just-
Because that tells us our total
Right.
load. The 3 subs tells us our total
Yeah,
load.
just knowing
And then
that.
I'm sure we would go to like Stonehouse Solar or the battery projects, and it's gonna be,
Yeah, you just
I
think about
don't know that
everything
we'll ever
as
get
far-
down to the Tesla wall, solar, residential solar.
But you're
Thinking
gonna,
about
but you're gonna be
managing
able,
those
you're gonna be able to
houses.
manage those by the new meters. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
you
gonna be
can.
able
Yeah,
to pull
you
those
can.
reports, and
Alright.
you're gonna know when they're hitting peaks, when it's being triggered.
But yeah, I just think about just knowing what that population is of, I mean, it seems silly, but power walls, like if you have enough of them, that could be nice for neighborhoods. and-
It's not
Keep
silly,
systems online.
you know, ISO New England, who runs the whole grid for all of New England, right?
Yeah.
And has power sources that manage those, has a 5 megawatt trigger that they previously haven't wanted to know anything below 5 megawatts, which is curiously why Stonehouse Solar is 4.99
Yes, yes,
megawatts.
yes.
Because once you get to that 5 megawatts, they have control over it. They can tell you, stop or go, right? They are now gathering data and are more interested in the distributed generation and net metering things than they've ever been because it's accumulating to the point where it's affecting their
Yeah, both of
management
them, yeah.
of the grid. So there are new requirements to actually report on those things, and they're getting lower and lower and lower in terms of the scale that they're asking about.
Yeah, it's just a curiosity, man, of mine. I think it's useful for planning purposes and for us to just have in the back of our minds more as much as anything else.
You will have the data available. With the AMI, you'll have a lot of options.
I am, just on that fiber line, like what are our options there? I mean, TDS has been installing fiber
Yeah.
now in the area.
Yeah, I mean, you got fiber, we've got Comcast, we've got TDS.
I know VTEL has
We've
some
got-
dark fiber.
Yeah, we're very limited to locations on that.
Yeah.
Velcro's was in the process, well, still is in the process of trying to do that. And we were gonna do a dedicated line of fiber down through their transmission, and then we were gonna feed our shop substations, Okemo,
Yeah.
and run all that line in our space. But that whole thing
It's slow.
it's slow,
Just
still
saying.
working.
It's not
And I
that they're
don't
not
think
doing
that's
it,
gonna
but it's
be,
slow.
that's gonna be too, I mean, this is a very crucial thing that we have to have up and running, because,
Yeah,
And there are enough options without Velco involvement that I think we
Right.
can figure it out. The reason I interjected on the engineer thing, because I thought you were done, is they're gonna help us evaluate, looking at our GIS system, they're gonna help us evaluate kind of some of those
Yeah.
options, and the hope is to move pretty quickly with this. We did apply for a grant, which we haven't heard about, so but I don't think we can wait for a grant. So this may show up in the budget pretty quickly. We put some in last year.
yeah.
We may,
for this.
For the
SCADA.
Yeah, we talked about it in the
right,
capital.
we may be refining that and augmenting it because we'll know more about it this
Yeah, fair
year.
enough.
So, Chris, who is the engineer?
Alan
PLM.
Rice, PLM.
Alan Rice and Matt,
Don't know
I
Matt's
can't
last
remember
name.
Matt's last name.
And
Alan's been our engineer for
I was
ever.
gonna say,
He's
our-
worked with the Howards, let's put it that way, for a
Okay.
long time.
So we contract with him?
Yes.
How does that, okay.
PLM,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm done.
Nice. Main Street line relocation, we talked about that a couple times. I was just curious what that entails and the timeline. Are we doing,
Main Street.
weren't we gonna relocate
Route
some lines?
103.
No, the
Oh,
103 line,
103.
103, and we're
Yeah, yeah.
just waiting for Comcast to get off so we can get the rest of our grant money, pull the rest of the poles.
We have to pull the
I see
poles.
some Trucks down there.
Yeah.
Still not going, it wasn't
Oh.
Comcast.
Well, I don't know what it is, but
Yeah,
they're
it's
there.
Comcast. Comcast's working it right
Oh,
now.
right.
And then they're not.
Yeah.
And they- Anyway. Okay.
I mean, maybe you know just because you work in this space, but maybe more a question for Ron than you. I'd heard rumors, just through my day job of Green Mountain GMP's zero outage initiative, and just they're doing a lot of work right now, and ends up being a lot of road work and culvert work, and just curious if we've run into any of that, or if we're helping them with any of that in our
No,
area that you're aware of.
I mean, the real reason, majority of their stuff is stuff that's cross-country.
Yeah.
They're either burying it or getting it, I mean, they're trying to bury everything, and I don't think the way they're doing it and what they're doing it in, I think down the road, they're gonna be in serious trouble
Have
because
larger problems.
they're gonna
we've
have
talked
larger
about that
problems.
before. Yeah, I've heard some mixed things, and I was just curious
Yeah.
if we're.
I mean, I think the whole zero outages, I think they're trying to get rid of that cross-country stuff and get their stuff out of the danger zone and
Yeah.
either bury it or say, get it out of the danger zone. And I think a lot of it, I think they're trying to do these battery backup walls, so if they do have an outage, the battery picks up
Yeah,
these
they can
houses.
keep a
and-
neighborhood online or
Right.
whatever while they fix the.
They do have a lot of cross-country stuff. I mean, like, in the old days, when the utility was constructing, they would go from point A to point B as a straight line as best they could. And it didn't matter if they went across, cross-country and things like that, and through the woods, over the river and through the woods. But that's where they have the problem. I mean, and I'll just say, like, for my house in Randolph, the line is in the woods. It's got
Yeah.
right. And if a tree falls on it and it puts it out, not only do they need to remove the tree, but they have to walk the whole thing
Yeah.
before they turn it back on again. And of course, it usually happens in the winter when there's 3 feet of snow there. So
Yeah.
what should have been a 10-minute outage is a half a day.
Yeah.
I think we don't have a lot of
We
that.
don't have
It's
much
hard.
Yeah, it's just a
cross-country at all.
different design system. Yeah.
roadside, you can drive it and inspect it fairly quickly and then
Yeah.
get it back on.
You also can get your trucks to it, right? That's
You're not climbing, dragging gear in.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right,
7.
I think we're good. On to
Yeah.
the handbook.
So I think I'll explain for the record what I put to you in an email, which is, I thought we were going to be prepared today to at least have you review a list of policy decisions that you could talk about and either decide or recommend. We still know where most of those are, but the revision to the handbook has gotten worse and worse over time. It's getting more complicated, it's getting longer, it's getting more redundant as a result of kind of, and I respect our attorneys a lot, but really as a result of attorney influence and putting things in to cover.
I was going to say, it's not because of our input.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, you guys, I mean, you've been extremely patient, but I don't want you to, I also don't want to expose you to something that is a miserable document, right? So, so Lisa and I, after Brett was driving, he was my chauffeur yesterday as we went to the engineer. I read this thing coming back and forth, and I got more and more angry as I was reading this thing because it was moving in the wrong direction. So I called Sarah. We had a 2-hour meeting this morning to understand. I mean, I respect attorneys and I appreciate them, but I need to understand what is legally required versus what's their legal advice versus what is discretionary and what we can change. And so we got a long way today in learning about what that is, which enables Lisa and I to revise this and make it a lot more user-friendly. The other problem with it was, besides being 52 pages, 56 pages long?
46.
46, okay, I'm off by 10.
It was 52 the last
It was
time.
52.
We did get it down a little.
Well, it went up and then
Our
down.
employees are not, it's important that our employees understand this and can read it. We're asking them to sign off on it, right?
Yeah,
And so it's a balance between department protecting its interests, which is very important, informing employees of their rights and responsibilities, very important, but that both have to be really clear. And so we're going to work on this in the next week or so. We should be able to have a draft, but I do want to send it back to Sarah for legal review under the understanding of that we've reached today about what
yeah. we
the
don't-
philosophy is about this thing. So
All right. So I just had a couple comments that I didn't see in here.
Okay,
But it
and-
is very convoluted, so
It's-
maybe it's in there.
no, well, it's good timing
well,
because we can incorporate it if
Okay.
you want.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't see where and it doesn't have to outline it, but where it emphasizes for employees to follow the chain of command. And I think that should be
Yeah.
clear, because if it wasn't clear to me,
It's
it's not
not.
going to be clear to an employee.
Yeah.
And it can be very simple, 2
It-
sentences.
absolutely.
Or 1 sentence, maybe. The other thing was, I guess, I don't know if this needs to be in the handbook, but I think that comp time should be limited.
We've
and-
actually taken the comp time section out.
Okay,
Yeah, I thought we had that discussion.
Yeah, but I want to make sure I'm understanding, because there is still flex time. There's still the ability to say, hey, Chris, can I come in 2 hours late today and work 2 hours longer because I've got,
well, that's
different.
not what comp time, I just think should be limited and only for special things. But
Agreed.
just consider.
So it's right now it's
Okay.
out of the handbook, and I
Okay.
don't expect that to go back in because we talked about it last
So then
time.
there wouldn't be comp time if
No.
it's not, okay, I'm fine with that. And last comment is, in terms of working from home,
Yeah.
I think that, again, that should be limited, and if it were gonna be ongoing or permanent, I'd like to see that it come before the board for approval. Because I think that, just working from home,
Yeah.
it's not a philosophy that I think Ludlow Electric
Well,
has or should,
it-
but just consider it.
yes, absolutely. Well, I guess what I would say to that is, I wasn't here during COVID, so I know we were all kind of doing so. But we don't typically we don't work from home. We do, it is limited.
Right, okay.
It's on special occasions.
That's fine.
For example, I don't want to throw Lisa under the bus.
Yesterday.
But we had a 46-page document to review. We've tried to do it in the office. We couldn't get it done because of all the other things that were going on. So
But
Lisa
now-
stayed home yesterday
But
and
wait a
read
minute,
that.
now you have a private office.
Doesn't matter.
And a private.
I still have,
okay.
I still have phone calls, I still have emails, I still have people asking me
understand.
questions.
I'm just asking
So,
you to consider that.
We are, and
Okay.
I want you to know that I agree with the philosophy that it should be limited, and it shouldn't be a regular thing.
Right, okay.
I would ask to reserve, as we go through this document, let's continue the discussion about what comes before the board and doesn't, so, but I appreciate that.
Having to spend an hour reading the handbook is not what I'm thinking about.
Right.
I'm thinking about a permanent job
Yeah,
Right.
regularly
description.
working.
I gotcha.
change. And we are still working on job descriptions, or that's,
I think those
out
are,
there.
I feel like those are done.
okay.
If you disagree, we can talk about that, but I feel like those are done.
They're drafted. I haven't seen anything that didn't say drafted.
I don't think we've
They all
adopted
had
any.
draft
No.
stamped on them. I don't think they were
No,
ever
we
a hard
haven't.
copy.
I don't know that we
Because I've
ever
been
adopted
looking-
any job
Because I've been
descriptions.
looking.
No, you
forward
guys
to
are not,
seeing
the
it.
only job description you adopt is mine.
Right, and I'm hoping we're working on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
think we
thought
are,
you
but
did
I
it,
would like
because
to see us-
I've been hired, and I was hired under a job description, but all the other job descriptions, the ones I sent you and resent you, said draft on them?
They all, I don't think we ever saw anything that wasn't a draft 2 point
I
whatever.
did
Double
not.
check that tomorrow
Let's
morning.
do that, because,
I didn't ever see anything that wasn't a draft.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think I ever did.
I mean, after the last discussion from the meeting, I sent them all out again to all of you. I don't think any of them said draft on them that I sent, but
I don't know that I ever, I don't remember ever seeing that, but
really,
I mean,
okay.
I would,
It was job descriptions for every single position we have in this
Yeah.
organization, and I said, most of them were done last December. I came in September, right? Most of them were done in December, and the rest were done as we either redesigned jobs or hired new people. And they're all done.
Okay,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
then
Yeah,
forward
let's
that.
resend them again, just to double check. but
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we
Yeah, I'll
ever.
double check tomorrow
I think the
morning.
ones that I saw were still
And they're
marked out
actually
and.
part-
If they are, it is possible that they have a draft, if they have a draft watermark on them or say draft, I'll take that off, but.
I think the most recent versions that I had seen, they all had different levels of markup, or, some had
Yeah.
crossouts or highlights and
So
red lines.
the ones for the office were color-coded based on if something is daily, weekly, or monthly.
I had seen that too, but I think the most recent version I remember still had varying levels of
We'll-
highlights and red
We'll
lines.
double check, and I
Yeah,
apologize
I-
if, we'll just double check, but
Yeah.
we'll
That's fine.
Yeah,
check that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, yeah.
So the
Well, we're
expectation
just
is, and I don't want to have you guys have to hold a special meeting on this. I'll send you stuff as we get it completed for review. Truthfully, for the document, I want to give you at least a couple of weeks before the meeting so that you can read it and,
Yeah.
and get familiar. And I still am interested in providing you, independent of the report, the manual, the handbook, or as a outline next to it to point out those policy decisions that I think
Yeah.
you all need to revisit or
Yeah.
make, okay, so that you have that guidance. Okay, thank you.
If there's nothing else, on to possible executive session.
I'll make a motion to move into executive session. Am I supposed to say?
For the
something else?
purpose of personnel,
Personnel, yes,
yeah. I will
and contractual matters.
second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.